Okay. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Friday's version of the daily workout. I'm really excited to have Jane with me. Jane is the founder of the Career Farm, which is a great name. I love it. And just to put things into perspective, Jane and I actually met because she's done all of my training around talent sourcing. She's based in the UK. So Jane, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
So I did your excellent training a while ago now. I have a business which basically helps students who are doing MBAs and masters in business schools in Europe get their next job. We have an online course that helps them go through that. So that's like a career development course. Then we have an executive coaching arm that helps people develop their career and as a leader. And then finally, the third kind of arm of Career Farm is executive search, which is how we came to meet. I think I heard your name mentioned on a podcast, and it's been a while since I've done executive search. So I just wanted to refresh some of my skills on searching. So that was fantastic. Yeah.
Yes. Wow, really diverse portfolio. I love that. The one thing that I wanted to ask you, because this week's whole focus has been around talent sourcing, is when you are sitting in an executive coaching situation, what do you take from the training around talent sourcing to tell your candidates this is how you stand out so that headhunters and executives can find you? What is your top tips?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a challenge for, some of the talent that I work with. So a lot of the business schools, obviously I've been in this field for 20 years. So a lot of them are alumni and quite senior. And
Yeah,
it's that balance. They want to be found for the right jobs, but they don't want to be hassled all the time. And I
yeah,
think that certainly on LinkedIn at the moment, I'm hearing, I just get contacted all the time in a really unprofessional way sometimes.
yeah.
And so there's a real balance, and I try and encourage them to be visible. I know a lot aren't, and they stay beneath the radar, but then they can miss out on some opportunities as well, for sure.
Yeah.
So it's a combination of things, really. I think one of the key things is being visible at conferences and
Yeah.
obviously great networking. And I know that people have had business opportunities as well as jobs come out of speaking at conferences, and particularly if it's a
Yeah.
area of specialism that they know about, that they can put themselves forward to be speakers. And I highly recommend organizations like Toastmasters as a way to kind of increase your confidence and skills at speaking. I've been a member in the past and I found it invaluable. So that's one thing. Obviously LinkedIn, and that's where all the recruiters and the headhunters sit, is to make sure your profile is up to date. It's selling you in a way that highlights your skills and your concrete achievements. And it depends what they want to do, really, but with some of them definitely trying to make them think about how they want to present themselves and be perhaps a thought leader in their area, because that definitely opens up opportunities for many different things.
100%. And I think this branding piece is just becoming such a big part for everyone because of this AI.
Yeah.
Being a human being, standing out as someone that you can almost see and touch, in 3D. It's becoming so important. But just talking about your comment there of what you said on LinkedIn is that, they don't like to spend a lot of time there. They maybe get harassed by recruiters, not really the best kind of messages that are sent out. Is there another platform that you sometimes find executives on that we don't know about yet?
Oh, yeah. Now you're talking.
No, but you mentioned events and you mentioned Toastmasters, and those are two really good places that talent sources
I
can
think
look.
I think Toastmasters would be really good to find people. I think they don't make their alumni lists visible, the business
Yeah,
schools,
I
but
understand that.
some of the business schools, especially for the senior roles, may have
Yeah.
a job board, and they're happy to put your job on their job board. So that would be quite
Okay.
good. I
Okay.
think if you're an alumni from a certain business school or university, put yourself forward as a speaker. Often universities are very happy to have recruiters come in and talk, and that's a good way to be visible. Let's say you're a specialist in data. I don't know, you're a data analyst or something like that, or that's the area you specialize in, or a certain area, maybe mechanical engineering, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Offer to go in and speak to the alumni and students about how to get recruited and how to be visible, and give before you then start to recruit, because those students will become alumni, and in a couple of years' time they may be very useful for you. So I would encourage that, because you know, the business school and the university career services, they're very busy places. There's a lot of students, and I think a lot of them would be very happy to have you come in and welcome you to come in and talk to their alumni and their students about the market. Because it's very hard to know what's going on in the market unless you're constantly ringing people, finding out what jobs are out there, what are the salaries. You've got a lot of valuable knowledge that actually could be great for the universities and alumni. So, yeah.
That's actually the same way I cracked into the South African technical kind of scene, is that I was presenting at conferences, presenting at universities, talking to grads. How do you present yourself? How do you put a CV together? So it's a very similar way of approaching it. Another thing is when you're doing your coaching piece, and LinkedIn is obviously where, if you are looking for a new job or a new opportunity, you normally find people really improving their LinkedIn profiles. Is there anything that you've tweaked or done to your LinkedIn profile that's helped with your brand of late?
I work really hard on having a lot of testimonials. I hope that helps. I know I'm in a coaching group with Mark Whitby, and he said that he thought it was impressive that I've gathered all my testimonials, and I quite like doing it in one place, because once they put it on LinkedIn, then potentially I can use it because it's kind of public. So that has been really useful, I think, and I think it just builds your credibility that people are prepared to fill that in. I know you've got a lot as well, Vanessa, and I think that is definitely worth doing. What else? I mean, I'm still tweaking my summary, but I have changed my heading to try and make it a little bit clearer about what I do and who I help. I think I think one of the most common things is it's all about me, not about how I can help you, and that's something that I need to address. I know my LinkedIn profile is not perfect.
We'll definitely
still a work in progress.
It always is, and we're going to put a link for people to connect with you during the show. We'll put it up in the chat, so
then they can give me some pointers.
So the other thing, around that with what you do in the executive coaching space is that when I'm training people, a lot of the recruiters I'm dealing with, they all kind of think that they have become headhunters. Maybe not executive headhunters, but there's such a scarcity of skills in the global economy these days that the recruiters feel like they're headhunting anyway. No one's responding to their adverts. They're not even bothering putting adverts onto job boards anymore. So what do you see as the difference between, the executive headhunters out there working at your level compared to, your high street agency recruiters?
So that's kind of on the supply side. So we're not comparing internal people. It is interesting because when I first started out in recruitment, I did headhunting even at this is a long time ago, but RPG 400 programmers. I was literally headhunting. I think it's at a senior level. Generally, I would make a generalization here. It tends to be a more structured process. Make a lot more research into the organizations that you're headhunting out of, doing a lot more behind the scenes work to get references and qualify those people that you're approaching. The reports are longer. They are more in-depth interviews generally. And I suppose you might use more, personality profiling. You'd speak to a lot more stakeholders potentially. I mean, that's the main differences that I see. And I think generally at that more senior level, they often get more access to understanding the culture of the company, and there's a bit more buy-in from the company because they're spending more money, that they need to, really, you feel like you really understand the role and the company a bit more. Certainly when I first started out, you didn't really get that level of information at that level, and it's because it's not retained often. They don't put that amount of effort into briefing you. Whereas if you're paying a retainer, you're like, well, I need to make this work. Time here. It's that they've got skin in the game, really. So which is why I focus on the retained work. I don't want to ever go back to doing contingent just because I've been there and done that. And fair enough. A good business in it for sure, but I'm and
I think that on the same note, that's why I look at talent sourcing, because it's hourly paid regardless of the outcome, which it's lots less risk, let's face it. Jane, that was a good analogy. So I mean, we're now into September. What are the plans for the rest of the year for you and the career farm? What are you thinking?
So we're redoing the website. Oh.
So,
luckily, I've got a great web designer and copywriter helping me, but you still need to do a fair amount of work.
yeah,
We're just finishing up, hopefully it's coming to an end, some executive coaching projects. Yeah, that's helping an organization move through transition. So hopefully that will all be successful, and that will they will move forward, and we've done our job. And yeah, then really focusing my executive search practice, growing that in renewable energy and tech for good, but around the environment. So that's an exciting new kind of area that I'm developing in. So.
Yeah, and as you know, we've spoken about that a lot. I'm a big fan of that area and have been doing lots of research into putting solar into our new house. And yeah, so it's all about renewables. That's the way forward. Excellent. Yeah. Jane, well, listen, thank you so much. Thanks for being a guest. I appreciate your time, and stay in touch.
It's lovely to speak with you again, Vanessa. Thanks for having me on.
Excellent.